And the harbour crowd is calling, from the old port to the oval, we will follow one and all. We'll talk the wins and losses, every player, every spark. Raise your voice for Fremantle, you're listening to Wharf.
Welcome back to Wharf Talk. I'm JB and I'm recording this Saturday night, still in the Guernsey, heart rate not entirely back to normal. So fair warning, you're getting the raw version tonight. I thought about sleeping on it and giving you something calmer tomorrow, but honestly, you deserve to hear it while it still hurts, because that's how I watched it. Fremantle lost to Melbourne at the MCG on Saturday, 113 to 109, 4 points. Melbourne kicked 5 goals in the last quarter and stole it. Third loss of the season, and I'll be honest with you, this one had me on my feet, me and my mate in the lounge room, screaming at the telly, and I said some things about the umpiring I'm not proud of. We'll see if I still mean them by the end. Here's the other story though, and this is the one that actually lasts. Jai Amiss and Josh Treacy both kicked their 50th goal of the season in the same game at the MCG. First Fremantle players to reach 50 since Matthew Pavlich in 2012. 14 years. And it didn't just happen for one bloke, it happened for both of them same afternoon. Exactly the ridiculous long shot we've been talking up for 3 straight episodes. Amiss finished on 5 for the day, sitting on 53. Treacy added 2, lands bang on 50. Both of them same game, wild. So you can see the problem I've got. Best individual story of Fremantle's season, wrapped inside one of the more painful afternoons of it. 40,938 at the G. Right, let's run it. First quarter was an absolute shootout, level at quarter time, 5-2 apiece. Voss opened with a flushed set shot from directly in front and busted out the double cobra, because of course he did. Amiss kicked his 49th on a clean lead. Freo had 4 scores from their first 5 inside 50s. That's how clean the start was. And then Melbourne just answered everything. Pickett, Sparrow, Laurie twice. The last one after Mason Cox got lazy with a kick across the arc, and Laurie pounced end to end, both ends, no breathing room. And under the shootout, the shape of the whole day was already there if you squinted. Freo winning the clearances 15-10, but Melbourne winning the contested ball 38-24, and the inside 50s 16-13. They were getting it in more and getting it in dirtier. I didn't want to look at that yet, so I didn't. Second quarter, Freo surged. Treacy opened with a goal after absolutely cleaning up Tholstrup in a blindside tackle. Poor bloke didn't see it coming. Switkowski snapped one off a 65-metre Treacy dish. Voss kicked his 4th from the centre square, and the set shot kicking was immaculate. 11 from 11 at one stage, 11 goals, 0 misses. That is not a statistic, that is a party trick. And somewhere in there, the milestone landed by the final siren. Both Amiss and Treacy were past 50. The sources squabble a bit about the exact minute it happened, so I'm not going to swear to a quarter, just that it happened. And both blokes are past 50, and that's locked. One more from the second that I loved. Harrison Petty playing on Brennan Cox, who is, let's say, similarly follically challenged. Nails a set shot and then rubs his own head. Straight up callback to the Voss head rub from round 2, the one that actually got the rule changed. Petty just sent it right back down the line, cheeky as anything, and I respect it. Freo by 3 at half time. 21 goals in 2 quarters, some kind of football match. Third quarter tightened into as they do. Amiss kicked his 4th off a lovely Bolton run out of the centre. Harvey Langford took what everyone's calling a mark of the year contender. 4th man and a 4-man pack on the wing, has absolutely no right to come down with it, and then grins at the replay screen, the cheeky sod. And this was Jackson's quarter, a game high 6 disposals in the term, 16 touches and 21 hitouts and 7 clearances by the last change, just gradually taking the ruck battle away from Gone and dragging Freo forward with it. Freo led at the last change by 8. 14, 4-12, 8. And here's the number. Hold it in your hand. Freo had led at 3/4 time in 16 games this season and won 15 of them. 15 from 16. They were in the chair. This was statistically over. Yeah. About that, Johnson snapped the opener. Freo 4 goals up, done, surely. And then Melbourne just came and the wheels came with them. Petty, close range, goal. O'Driscoll answers with a 50-metre penalty after Petty shoves him after the mark. Petty throws his head back because he knows exactly what he's just done. Fine. We're still up. Then Pickett outbodies Brayshaw for a contested mark and goals. Then Petty climbs over everyone for his third. Margins shrinking. Dudley crumbs 9-point buffer, 8.5 to go. Okay, breathe, we're okay. Then Sharp soccers his third off the deck under two Freo defenders, and I'm off the couch. And then Fritsch puts them in front. Off a Brennan Cox free in a marking contest. Players pull up at the whistle. Fritsch doesn't, snaps it, gone. 7 minutes left and Melbourne's in front for the first time since the second quarter. And this is the stretch where I lost it. And here come the calls. Petty misses a sitter from 25 directly in front. Thank you, Karma. We needed that. Voss goes back from 40 on the angle. Rush through behind. Langford drops Johnson in a rundown tackle to chew the clock. Freo win a late free for abuse. Can't get it end to end. And then Fritsch takes a mark on the boundary with 20 seconds left that, and I have watched this replay more times than is healthy, looked out on the full. Looked out to me, to my mate, to everyone in my lounge room who is admittedly wearing purple and screaming. But here's where I've got to be a grown-up about it. Was I salty? Yes. Am I still a bit salty? Also, yes. But props to the demons because I've calmed down enough to say it. They came in with a plan and they executed it to the letter. Stephen King had them primed. They won the contest, they won the clearances, they waited for Freo to go slow and they pounced. That wasn't luck and it wasn't the umpires. That was a good team doing exactly what they set out to do to the best side in the competition. Credit where it's due. Because when I actually sit down and look at it, the umpires aren't the story. We are. Melbourne beat us in the contest by 25. 138 contested possessions to 113. They beat us at the clearances 43 to 32. And if you want the exact spot the game leaked, it's stoppage clearances 26 to 15. All those little around the ground wins that turn into forward half chaos. And the number that tells you about the last quarter specifically. Tackles inside 50, Melbourne 16, Freo 6. Their pressure was suffocating right when it mattered and ours went for a walk. And here's the part that stings in a completely different spot because it's not the usual we were sloppy post-mortem. We weren't sloppy, we won the disposal efficiency. 80% to 70, we won the marks, 91 to 67. We kicked 12 goals and one behind on set shots. Near flawless in front of the sticks. We did not waste this game. We got flat out overrun in the guts and Melbourne had 43% of the ball in the last 10 minutes to our 27. That's not a near thing. That's a good team physically taking the game off us on the biggest stage there is. And here's the thing, and I want to know if you saw it the same way. Everyone's going to be filthy about that last mark and about a few calls in the last 10 that seem to only go one way. That frustration's real and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But for me, the umpiring isn't the story. We are. And the moment I keep coming back to isn't even the mark. You know, it's Patrick Voss earlier taking on a shot from outside 50 on the angle with Josh Treacy alone inside him screaming for it. Voss had the hot hand, 4 goals. I get why he backed himself. But that's an 11-point play in a game you lose by 4. Treacy marks and goals there, or at worst it's deep and we lock it in. Instead it's rushed through for a behind and Melbourne go coast to coast. That, for my money, more than any umpire, is the one that cost us. Tell me I'm wrong. The other one that's going to sting all week, Pierce, and I'll say it plainly, never rest him again. Petty does not take those uncontested marks in our defensive 50 with Moose standing there. Go and look it up. Last time Pierce played on him, Petty had 5 disposals and no goals. 5. We missed our captain and Melbourne's tall forwards feasted in exactly the space he usually owns. You cannot convince me that game looks the same with him in it. Which brings me to Brennan Cox, and I say this with love. Coxie came back in after 2 weeks out and it looked like a bloke who'd had 2 weeks out. Not his sharpest afternoon. A couple of the choices back there didn't come off. He gave away the free that let Fritsch kick the go-ahead goal and Petty got over the top of him late as well. Rusty. Understandable, 2 weeks on the sidelines and thrown straight into a shootout at the G, but the timing of the rust could not have been worse. We needed our tall defence humming on Saturday and it wasn't quite there. That's not a hanging offence, it's just the truth of the day. Longmuir's red afterwards was calm as you like. They went slower and more controlled in the third. Hadn't been in a tight finish for a while. Got caught by a desperate sides pressure. He wasn't rattled. Called it useful finals prep. We've got no fears here. And you know what? He's right and it's the correct thing to say. Better to cop this lesson now in round 22 than in a fortnight when it actually ends your year. Quick player notes. A miss, 5 goals in the best and now tied second in the Coleman race, 4 behind Curnow. And remember, he trained limping during the week, played 86% of the game and was still the most dangerous man on the ground. Voss, 4 goals, 1 from the centre square, magnificent alongside him. Treacy, 503 metres gained, big territory day. Matt Johnson, best on for the Dockers, 24 and 8 marks. Sarong, steady as acting skipper, 21 and 7 clearances and 10 tackles. Jackson won the ruck on the stats, 26 hitouts and 8 clearances. But Gawn had 33 and was the more telling of the two in the quarter. That decided it. And Murphy Reid got tagged into the ground by Tholstrup. 3 touches for most of the day before a late burst to 8. 19 years old and already copping a hard tag. Take it as a compliment, kid. For Melbourne, Pickett was best on ground, 27 and 2 goals and 6 tackles. And May here from the match review office for throwing his head back after contact in the first. Petty, 3 goals, the fourth quarter hero and apparently no longer trade bait. Given Gawn went out of his way to praise him afterwards, and Gawn, 33 hit-outs, the last quarter difference. 2 review incidents, no predictions from me. Pickett for the head throw. Reports flag a possible fine, and Mason Cox, different Cox, for going down a bit theatrically in front of goal in the fourth, which is a staging conversation, not an MRO one. State them, wait for the rulings. Both injury lists nil. A miss came through clean, which after the training scare is a genuine relief. Next up, Adelaide at Optus, Friday the 14th, home. The minor premiership all but locked. Its form and tune-up from here to September. 3 things to take out of Saturday. 1, the milestone is the lead, not the loss. A miss and Treacy to 50 in the same afternoon. First Dockers since Pav, 14 years, 1 game. In a season chasing a flag, the 4 points are a footnote. That's the memory. 2, the dress rehearsal showed us something real, and I'm glad it did now rather than later. Win the marks, win the efficiency, lose the contest and the last 10 minutes. I'd arrested Pearson, a match-fit Cox back into that defence, and it looks different. But the lessons on the table, and this group had better read it. 3, Melbourne's are a proper finals threat and the rematch is right there. 10 and 1 at the MCG. Petty called it his best win outside a grand final. If we draw them again in September at that ground, and it is absolutely on the cards, we now know exactly how much it's going to hurt to beat them. So, salty a bit, beaten by a better performance on the day. Also, yes, and I can hold both of those in my head at once. That's what being a supporter is. But the history, 2 blokes, 50 goals, same afternoon, first time in 14 years. That's ours. Nobody's taking that one off us. See you Tuesday for the full review. Go Dockers.
And the harbour crowd is calling from the Old Port to the Oval. We will follow